Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar on how to apply to Caldo member universities with support from EDUCAFIN. So before we begin, I would like to ensure that everyone can hear me okay. If you could just type yes in the chat box if you can hear me. Perfect. Thank you very much, everyone. So good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. I hope all of you are doing well and staying safe with your families and loved ones at home during these difficult times. So the purpose of today's webinar is to provide you with more information on the Caldo Consortium. It's 10 member universities, and the support and services that we offer prospective graduate students from Latin America. My name is Marie-Ève Bérubé, and I am the academic and project manager at Caldo. So the first part of the presentation today will be on Caldo, and in the second portion of today's webinar, Ms. Guadalupe Cruz, International Programs Coordinator at EDUCAFIN, will speak about the Talentos de Exportación program and how you can apply for a scholarship to fund your graduate studies at one of our member universities. At the end of today's presentation, time permitting, both Guadalupe and myself will respond to some questions, which you're welcome to ask at the end of the presentations in the chat box. So to begin, what is Caldo? Unlike most other organizations, Caldo focuses solely on Latin American students. So our expertise throughout Latin America helps us understand better what students are looking for when studying abroad, and we can help them find the best programs at one of our member universities based on their research interests. We cooperate with a broad range of international partners, including government agencies and educational institutions, to establish agreements that facilitate higher education mobility from Latin American countries to our 10 member universities. Caldo is currently partnered with sponsoring agencies in Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Mexico, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, and Uruguay. So the Caldo Consortium is comprised of 10 of Canada's U15 leading universities. So those universities distinguish themselves from other Canadian universities because of their very strong research focus. Our latest member to join the consortium is McMaster University, located in Hamilton, Ontario. So in total, we now have the University of Alberta, University of Calgary, Dalhousie University, Université Laval, McMaster, University of Ottawa, University of Saskatchewan, University of Toronto, Waterloo, as well as the University, Western University. So as mentioned, our member universities are located across the country from Alberta in the Western Canada, all the way to Nova Scotia in Eastern Canada. So why choose Canada as a study destination? First of all, Canadian university degrees are recognized by employers worldwide. Canadian society is welcoming, inclusive, and multicultural. Canada provides access to world-class research opportunities. The Canadian universities support your journey to success. Canadian education offers excellent value, and Canadian cities are affordable. According to HSBC Bank Research, the annual cost of university education in Canada ranks 6th as most affordable, making it less expensive than Australia, the US, and the UK. So why do international students choose Canada? So in addition to the elements listed in the slide before, according to CBIE, the Canadian Bureau for International Education, The top 3 reasons international students choose Canada as a study destination are: 1, the quality of the Canadian education system; 2, Canada's reputation as a tolerant and non-discriminatory society; and 3, Canada's reputation as a safe country. So in Canada, the Canadian academic system, after completing an undergraduate degree or a bachelor's degree, student can choose to continue to graduate studies. So the next level after an undergrad usually is a master's level, a master's degree program, which can be either professional or course-based, in which case it's not suitable for PhDs, or a research or thesis-based master's program, which are typically 2 years and can then be followed by PhD studies. In some cases, there is options for direct entry from undergrad to PhD, but that depends on each programs, the universities. But in general, PhD follows a research-based master's and is typically between 4 and 5 years. So why choose a Caldo university? Well, first, they have the highest academic standards in teaching and research. The Caldo member universities offer a comprehensive range of academic disciplines, expertise, and complementary research strengths. There are hundreds of programs, including doctorates, thesis and course-based master's degrees, and professional master's degrees offered at each of the universities. Caldo also offers personalized services for candidates seeking admission, from helping to gather the documentation necessary to complete an application, identifying deadlines, finding where you can find the information on supervisors available for different programs. And there is also language schools at the Caldo member universities that offer short and long-term language courses, which you can find more information on our website about, and I will speak about our website a little bit later. So Caldo specifically is a leading academic gateway to Canada for international students. Our personalized services allow candidates to receive detailed information on programs of study that they are interested in and support with the application process. So the service that we offer is comprised of the following. So identifying programs of study that align best with the candidate's interests, assisting candidates in identifying the admission requirements and application deadlines for their program of interest, assisting them in identifying and gathering the required academic documents for the application process. So for example, statement of research, academic CV, suitable language test scores, etc., as well as providing support in navigating the application process. So how does Caldo benefit students? So we basically are a single point of contact for you to 10 of the top universities in Canada. And as mentioned, we offer tailored and personalized guidance and support. And we also offer follow-up and support on day-to-day issues once students have been admitted to the universities. In terms of our website, the Caldo website offers valuable information on steps to apply to the Caldo universities, tools that can be useful in preparing your application, such as how to write an academic CV, how to contact prospective supervisors, which language proficiency tests to consider, etc. We also have now a new contact page on our website for students who would like to support from Caldo. So you simply have to fill out the different fields and submit your request, and then we will be notified and contact you within 2 to 3 business days to begin the process and open the conversation. So now a very brief overview of the universities that form the Caldo Consortium. So as mentioned earlier, our member universities are located across the country from Alberta to Nova Scotia. So we first have the University of Alberta, located in Edmonton, a few hours away from the Rocky Mountains, which is composed of 18 faculties offering over 500 master's and PhD programs. They have research excellence in the fields of energy and environment, health, science and technology, public policy and society, arts and humanities. Then we have the University of Calgary, which is in Calgary, Canada's energy capital. The University of Calgary offers close to 150 different master's and PhD programs, and they focus their research excellence are in energy innovations for today and tomorrow, human dynamics in a changing world, engineering solutions for health, new earth space technologies, infections, inflammation and chronic disease, as well as brain and mental health. Following the University of Calgary, we have Dalhousie University, which is located in Halifax, Nova Scotia, a city with a distinctive coastal culture and groundbreaking research in sustainable oceans, clean technology, energy and the environment, food security, and health and wellness. Dalhousie University is home to MIT Regional Entrepreneurship Acceleration Program, as well as the Ocean Frontier Institute, which involves 8 international institutions from 5 different countries. Then we have Université Laval in Quebec City, the first Francophone university in North America, which offers over 500 different master's and PhD programs and has more than 270 centers and research groups. Research excellence at the Université Laval are in the field of Nordic and Arctic research, health, optic photonics, artificial intelligence, as well as sustainable development. Our newest member, McMaster University, located in Hamilton, Ontario, offers more than 100 doctoral and master's level programs spanning across fields of science, engineering, business, social sciences, and more. International students at McMaster represent approximately 25% of their student community from 82 different countries. And their top areas of research are in the fields of human health and social determinants, indigenous research and inquiry, sustainability for global prosperity, and materials and the built society. Then we have the University of Ottawa in Canada's capital city. University of Ottawa is North America's largest bilingual university and has several subjects ranked in the top 150 QS World ranking. Research excellence is in the field of e-society, health, molecular and environmental science, and Canada and the world. Then we have the University of Saskatchewan that is located in Saskatoon, which is composed of 16 faculties offering 154 master's and PhD programs. The University of Saskatchewan's research excellence is in the fields of water security and freshwater resources, food and bioproducts for a sustainable future, veterinary and animal sciences, energy and mineral resources, as well as synchrotron sciences. Then we have the University of Toronto, Canada's largest university, which is a leader in medical science, especially regenerative medicine. In particular, University of Toronto has 9 partner teaching hospitals. Research excellence, again, in the fields of medical science, especially, as I said, regenerative medicine, philosophy, medieval, and Renaissance studies, computer science and engineering, especially machine learning, as well as urban studies. We also have the University of Waterloo in Waterloo, Ontario. Its computer science program has ranked 22nd globally, and its mathematics department has ranked 43rd globally and 3rd in Canada. The research excellence at Waterloo are in the fields of biotechnology, information technology, environment and energy, as well as materials manufacturing and devices. Finally, we have Western University, located in London, Ontario. Western has world-class research facilities and internationally renowned faculty members in 12 different faculties. They have over 60 research centers and institutes, and approximately 1,500 of its 6,500 graduate students are international students coming from approximately 90 different countries. So this covers very briefly the 10 different Caldo member universities, as well as the services that Caldo can provide to you in your efforts of coming to Canada to study your master's or PhD program. Now, without further ado, I will introduce Ms. Guadalupe Cruz to continue the presentation on the Talentos de Exportación program and how this scholarship could help fund your graduate studies in Canada. So, Ms. Cruz.
Just yes or no? Okay, super. Okay, great. Thank you so much for being with us today. I have a couple of great information for you guys, especially if you are already in the process of getting an admission to any of these 10 amazing universities represented by the Calvo Consortium. So I know some of your names. I identify some of your names as part of the talent that has been supported by EDUCAFIN for other different programs. Specifically about today, it's what Talentos de Exportación is and how can you access to it. Just a little bit about EDUCAFIN. We are the decentralized public organization for the state of Guanajuato, and we aim to promote young talent of the state to become social leaders, professional, and pretty much just human capital that is going to be able to make an impact on the development of the state. And therefore, it's worth of our attention and our commitment to help them out and reach their professional and educational goals. Specifically, I'm going to just skip ahead to this little part right here. And this is really, really important. So EDUCAFIN has a lot of different international programs. One of the main questions that we often receive as part of the team is if I have ever been sponsored by any other scholarship of EDUCAFIN, maybe to go abroad for language training or for internships or volunteer, am I able to apply to Talentos de Exportación? The answer to that question is yes. Talentos de Exportación has their own specific budget, and therefore, if you have ever been sponsored by EDUCAFIN to any international program, you're going to go ahead and be able to apply to Talentos de Exportación under the following information or condition. I'm going to just skip to Talentos de Exportación right here. So Talentos de Exportación is the first state program in Mexico for postgraduate studies abroad. This implies masters and PhDs. We aim to promote a generation of young leaders and innovators. And we like to sponsor you to pursue those specific objectives. The program, pretty much, it's based on up to 750,000 pesos, up to 2 years. If it's for masters, I'm going to go ahead and go a little bit deeper in this. The condition for you to receive this specific amount, and this is something that I'd like to clarify as well, this is the most that you could get, but some programs, some cities, some tuition fees are not that big. So at the moment that you fill out your application, you have to fill out as well what is the amount that you're going to be requesting from EDUCAFIN in order to participate. EDUCAFIN Talentos de Exportación also comes from a specific state budget from Guanajuato. So in case that you have an additional scholarship such as CONACYT or such as FUNED, such as Fundación Becas Mod, it's fine and you're able to go ahead and apply to Talentos de Exportación. The only situation is if you have had a Talentos de Exportación and you received a sponsorship last year in order to do one specific program, and you decide to change programs or you decide to drop out of the first one, it's not possible to apply to a second one. So if you have any questions, we're going to go ahead and pass them to the end of the session, but this is really important for me to go ahead and specify. The other point that I would like to clarify here is that this amount of money, it's established as a student loan with the entire possibility of becoming a scholarship. What does this mean? Well, first, it means that you have to be accepted into master's or PhD of universities abroad. There's a committee that processes those selections and those applications. There's an additional subcommittee that dictates the acceptance, rejection, and the amount that is going to be financed. So at the moment that you do and you receive your application confirmation, you're supposed to go ahead and add an additional document that it's in Spanish is tabla de costos or relación de costos. In that specific relation, you're supposed to state, according to your acceptance letter, how much you're supposed to pay for tuition for academic year, per academic year. Additionally, you need to include how much does it cost to live in the city that you're going to live in, and additional expenses that you're thinking about. This could be from flight tickets, health insurance, any other additional expense that you're going to be needing in order for you to justify the amount that you're requesting to the community. Why is this important? Sometimes students try to ask for more tuition money, or sometimes they ask for more life expenses money than the area or region that they're going to be joining. So the committee tries to level that up and make it like a fair distribution in order of requests by applicants. Also, the committee is in charge of evaluating the projects for the total or partial cancellation of the debt. This is a retribution scheme or el modelo de condonación. So basically, there's a lot of specific points that are going to help you out as a potential candidate in order to pay out the student loan. Specifically with the agreements that we have with Calvo, this is something that for Talentos de Exportación applies to everything. Specifically with the Calvo agreement, it's going to be a student loan as long as you pass and you credit your master. What does it mean? As long as you pass a credit and you have your certification that the program ended successfully, you did not fail any academic courses, you didn't drop out for academic circumstances or were expelled, it's not necessary to pay back to the EDUCAFIN. This retribution scheme, however, works for the entire of Talentos de Exportación. What is important for us as well to go ahead and specify, there are certain areas that are going to be priority areas of study. This means that these areas are going to be, if there's more than one application requesting the same funding, the areas of study are going to be Okay, how can I say this in English? Yeah, okay. So if we have someone from engineering in, I don't know, in engineering in energy, renewable energy, and we have someone that it's there for another area that is not listed here, even though both candidates could have like a really strong application, the one that is listed on priority areas of study is going to have a bigger possibility to get the sponsorship. These priority areas of studies are going to be listed in the call of EDUCAFIN Talentos de Exportación, so you can also do a match. Sometimes the priority areas of study may not 100% match with the program that you're accepted to, but sometimes some programs have a specific area of specialization. I'm going to go ahead and put you an example that we had last year. So last year we did not have law to be in the priority areas, but we did have migration. So someone got the sponsorship because they were going to do a specific law degree, a master's degree in Harvard, with a specialization in migration rights for Mexico and the US. So that specific type of specialization within your areas could help you out to make a stronger case for the selection committee. The other information that is relevant to Talentos de Exportación is that the call is going to be open as in the 1st of May, 2020. You're going to be able to do your application, upload the documents to the website of EDUCAFIN. Both EDUCAFIN and Calvo have communication regarding of the applicants and students that have been admitted. I do receive a lot of questions lately about what the current EDUCAFIN Fundación Beca scholarship or Talentos de Exportación is about. So right now, the one that is opened from Talentos de Exportación is Fundación Beca. But there are going to be 3 different Talentos de Exportación calls for specific partnerships. For the one of Calvo University, it's going to be open starting May 1st. So you're going to be able to have a little bit of advantage because the university that you're applying or accepted to has already an agreement with EDUCAFIN through Calvo. So my recommendation specifically is for you to just like be really looking forward to the website of EDUCAFIN. Every single time that we have an open call is posted there. And additionally, the social media that we have at EDUCAFIN are also a really important component of how to realize when a call is open or when it's going to be open. For additional information, you can reach at gcruz@educafin.gov.mx, or you can also reach us through the social media of EDUCAFIN. We respond 24/7 to questions. I think that this is part of the presentation. It's really general, but you're going to be able to look at the call in the next couple of days. If you have any questions in the meantime about whether your program is going to be eligible or not, you're also free to reach out to us as part of the team, and we're going to go ahead and help you out to focalize those doubts and make sure that you have all the information necessary to apply. Mary, if you want to go ahead and start replying to questions. I don't know.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Guadalupe, for this very informative presentation. Now, indeed, is time to answer some of the questions. If it works with you, Guadalupe, maybe you want to address the questions that are asked in Spanish, and I can read out the questions in English, and then we can respond depending if the question is targeted to Caldo or EDUCAFIN. Would that work?
That would be great. Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. Okay, so we have a first question from Diego Andres Castro Lopez. In order to apply, I must have been born in Guanajuato. So EDUCAFIN, Guadalupe?
Yeah, so for Guanajuato, para Guanajuato hay 2 especificaciones. O eres guanajuatense por nacimiento, lo cual se puede comprobar con tu CURP, o eres guanajuatense por residencia. Para talentos de exportación, a diferencia de Guanajuato Global, se piden 3 años de residencia comprobable en el estado. Entonces, si eres una persona que no nació en Guanajuato, pero lleva residiendo más de 3 años, sí puedes aplicar. Se van a pedir documentos acordes para que puedas hacer esa validación de ese punto y que seas elegible para el comité.
Thank you, Guadalupe. I think that might also answer the question from Veronica Morales. I am not from Guanajuato, but I have lived and worked in Guanajuato for more than 10 years.
Sí, exactamente es lo mismo. Se te va a pedir ya sea como un grado anterior, inmediato, comprobante de domicilio.
Okay, so if you want to continue, we have a question also from Luis Eduardo Navarrete Jimenez. Guadalupe, I'm sorry, oh, okay. So we have a question from Luis Eduardo Navarrete Jiménez. Hola, me gustaría saber si mi área arquitectura sustentable sería elegible.
No estaba enlistada como prioritaria, sin embargo, como les comentaba, las áreas que no son prioritarias pueden igual llenar la solicitud. Simplemente al momento de que el comité tenga que decidir, o sea, porque son fondos limitados. Entonces, si el comité tiene que decidir entre estos fondos limitados, se le van a dar a la persona que está en un área prioritaria, pero arquitectura sustentable no está listada como una de esas. Entonces, sí puedes llenar tu solicitud, simple y sencillamente puede que estés como, digamos, un poco más vulnerable respecto a los candidatos que sí son área prioritaria.
Thank you, Guadalupe. So we now have a question from Carlos Alfredo. Can I apply for any program starting in January 2021? So in terms of applying for graduate programs at Caldo member universities, indeed, some of them have January start dates. Others sometimes only have fall admission, so programs only start in September. So that will depend on the type of program that you are interested in applying to. I would invite you to visit the caldo.ca/contact webpage that I was discussing in the presentation, and send a quick email, fill out the form so that I can provide additional information and determine the program that you're interested in.
Sí, este año postulé para Manos por el Mundo y se ha pospuesto, puedo postularme por este proyecto. Como les comentaba, vienen de bolsas presupuestales diferentes, Guanajuato Global y Talento de Exportación. Puedes haber sido beneficiado o haber postulado para becas de movilidad y no influye ni tiene ninguna repercusión en un apoyo de talento de exportación. Aquí lo importante es para ser considerado un talento de exportación es que ya se tiene que tener la carta de admisión, donde ya la universidad, alguna de las 10 universidades del consorcio de Caldo, te estén admitiendo para un programa ya de posgrado, research-based masters, o sea, maestrías de investigación o doctorados. Entonces, ese sí es más bien como el punto principal para tener en consideración para la convocatoria que va a salir postulada este 1 de mayo.
Thank you, Guadalupe. So what about the additional fees? For example, those in Quebec for foreign students with EDUCAFIN, do we count with the exemption or do we include them in the total cost of our studies? Usually, Tanya, the additional fees will be included in your university invoice, semester invoice. So normally one of the services that Caldo provides is looking at the information on the program that the student has selected. What are the costs of tuition, as well as estimates of additional costs that could be incurred for that specific program, which you can then use that information to build your budget for the EDUCAFIN application.
De Pilar Isaac Ruano Gutiérrez, tengo que estar aceptada primero por la universidad. Sí, eso es sumamente importante para Talentos de Exportación. Talentos de Exportación y la mayoría de apoyos que son de financiamiento de posgrado no te van a soltar el recurso ni te van a decir que tienes ya una beca asignada si no está la certeza de que estás admitido por la universidad. Esta presentación ha sido un excelente recurso para aquellos que todavía no han iniciado ningún proceso de admisión. Marif les dio el perfil de cada una de las universidades de Caldo, son excelentes universidades. Si en este momento no han iniciado con la parte de verificación de programas académicos o de iniciar, es un buen momento para hacerlo, pero sí, para la convocatoria que se abre el 1 de mayo, tienen que tener la carta de aceptación ya lista para subirla al sistema.
Perfect, thank you. So we have a question from Regina. Am I able to work while I study in Canada? The short answer to that is yes. So again, on the Caldo website, there is a section for studying in Canada and a subsection living in Canada. This section provides information on living costs, housing, as well as health insurance for international students, and additional information on working in Canada while studying. There are things that need to be respected, so on-campus versus off-campus work, as well as the number of hours that are allowed to work. But all of this information is provided in more details on the Caldo website. In terms of Juan Herman Hernandez, GRE test is required. This depends on the program to which the student wishes to apply. Not all programs require the GRE test, and sometimes the same program may require the test at one university but not at the other university. So this is where we would look at the requirements, the admission requirements, and the documents that need to be provided in the conversation directly with the student. Now, next question, is it possible to receive any other support by the Government of Canada? In terms of getting funding from the Government of Canada, Caldo does not have the full list of all the opportunities that could be available. There are some funding opportunities offered by Global Affairs Canada, as well as by the individual universities, but we could look at that on a one-on-one basis. Now, Guadalupe, in terms of how that would affect the amount they can apply for at EDUCAFIN, would you like to provide additional information?
Yes. Are we talking about the Ernesto Castro question? I'm sorry.
Sorry, we're talking about Paul Alfonso Lara Serrano's question. If it's possible for them to receive other additional support, I'm assuming in addition to EDUCAFIN support, getting support from the Government of Canada.
As I was mentioning in English a little bit ago during the presentation, EDUCAFIN budget for sponsorships come from state resources. So if, for instance, you are granted with a CONACYT, FUNED, FIDER, becas, MOOC, a scholarship or sponsorship, is not a challenge for you to get sponsorship by EDUCAFIN. In this specific case, if you also are recipient of any sponsorship from the Government of Canada or the province of Canada in which the university is based, it's also possible to have a sponsorship by EDUCAFIN. The only thing that you're not allowed to get, it's 2 sponsorships from Talentos de Exportación. So if you have complementary funds, it's okay, and you can go ahead and take them.
Thank you, Guadalupe. So the next question in Spanish, ¿qué nivel de inglés es necesario? In terms of applying to graduate studies at the universities, the Caldo member universities, the minimum level required depends on the program, depends on the faculty, and it also is different from one university to the other. So again, this can only be clearly established once we have an idea of the type of program and the university to which you are interested in applying. That being said, when contacting the Caldo graduate coordinator, one of the documents that we will normally ask for is if you already have your scores for a language proficiency test accepted by the university. So in, for example, IELTS or the TOEFL. And then based on the results, we may be able to let you know which universities you would be eligible to apply to, and in which universities you may need a higher score. So that would be on a one-on-one basis. The next question, does this program apply for college? I'm assuming this refers to EDUCAFIN, and whether it applies to college degrees.
Ok, los grados de un college, ya sea en Estados Unidos o en Canadá, no son elegibles. El grado que se tiene que obtener es un Master o PhD. Entonces, sí hay otros proyectos de financiamiento de EDUCAFIN, ya sea para apoyo de vuelos o para crédito ordinario, con un límite de 25,000 pesos anuales, pero los grados de college están exentos de talentos de exportación. Hay algunos college que tienen, o sea, pero no es común tampoco, que puede que tengan autorización de la provincia para tener oferta académica de masters. Si hay un college que tenga un máster reconocido por el gobierno provincial y federal, podría ser elegible, pero también ya no sería bajo este acuerdo de Calvo. Con Caldo es específicamente doctorado y maestrías de investigación.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. If you want to, I can go ahead with the other question from Juan Ortiz Ciénega. What will be the date when EDUCAFIN releases the results? It's going to be, va a ser el 1 de junio del 2020.
Okay, I am looking for a master's related to music. My possibilities to enter are less. Guadalupe, I will let you answer that question.
Yes. Como les comentaba, los que no son área prioritaria, que estén listadas en la convocatoria como tal, tienen la posibilidad de llenar una solicitud, pero sí tendrías menos posibilidad en contra de una misma aplicación que su área sí esté listada dentro de las prioritarias. La verdad es que organizaciones adicionales que provean apoyos para áreas artísticas, también está el FONCA, pero también tienen sus mismas reglas de operación y tienen por ahí también sus características de apoyo. Sí puedes llenar una solicitud, sin embargo, o sea, si no hay una área prioritaria, sí estarías en desventaja contra aquellos candidatos que sí sean de programas de áreas prioritarias.
Thank you. Then the next question regarding age limit to apply for a PhD. If the question relates to programs at Caldo member universities, there is generally no age limit. However, this might differ depending on the program. In terms of age limits for applying for scholarship, Guadalupe?
No, en el caso del apoyo de EDUCAFIN no hay límite de edad para programas de posgrado.
Thank you. And would you like to address the following question as well from Denise Sandoval?
Of course. Es solo para estudiantes y soy egresada a la Universidad de Guanajuato. Este apoyo, que es Talentos de Exportación, es para estudiantes guanajuatenses o egresados que hayan sido admitidos a programas de posgrado en el extranjero para este año académico. ¿Qué significa esto? Significa que sí, tú eres egresado a la Universidad de Guanajuato, pero para poder hacer una solicitud de talento de exportación, ya tienes que tener un estatus de candidato aceptado para un programa ya sea de maestría o de doctorado en el extranjero. Específicamente, para ser beneficiario del convenio con Caldo EDUCAFIN, tendría que ser una de las 10 universidades del consorcio. Con Eric Rocha González, ¿puedo aplicar a la maestría en farmacia? Primero tengo que ponerme en contacto con ustedes y después aplicar, o sea, al revés. Ok, aquí Marie nos está compartiendo en este momento la página del contacto para Caldo. Caldo, uno de los servicios que los ofrecen a los prospective students o posibles estudiantes o candidatos, es que los ponen en contacto con la oferta académica dentro de la misma universidad y los guían sobre el proceso de aplicación. Si tú no has iniciado ninguna fase de tu proceso de aplicación, ni siquiera a lo mejor tienes todavía la parte de a cuál programa estarías aplicando, aquí tu primer paso sí sería que te contactes directamente en la oficina de Caldo con Marie, aquí como está marcado en la pantalla, y que a partir de ahí vayas guiándote para ver cuál programa sería el mejor match para ti. La pregunta de Tiare Sánchez, ¿es posible trabajar mientras estoy estudiando en Canadá? Sí, Marie les comentaba hace unos momentos que es posible bajo las normativas migratorias canadienses, tener un permiso de trabajo y tener permiso de estudiante simultáneo.
Thank you, Guadalupe. So the next question is in English, but I think relates to EDUCAFIN again. How many scholarships are granted every year?
Las becas de EDUCAFIN o los apoyos de talento de exportación, o sea, el año pasado se otorgaron las que estaban en meta con el recurso disponible, que fueron 100. No, perdón, fueron 104. Este año también estamos esperando a lo mejor similares, pero también todo depende tanto del recurso que se ha solicitado por cada uno de los candidatos. La verdad es que también se toma en consideración los gastos, si hay convenio con las universidades o no, para hacer la distribución de los recursos. En Estados Unidos, por ejemplo, un candidato necesita 1.200.000 pesos por año. Entonces, con frecuencia hay algunos países que son más costosos que otros, por lo cual los candidatos necesitan más recursos que cuando hay convenios de por medio, como es el caso de Caldo, o cuando son sistemas públicos educativos como Alemania o Francia. Entonces, no hay un número fijo de becas, depende del mismo comité y de la asignación de los recursos de las solicitudes, que están alineadas a áreas prioritarias, que tengan convenios de colaboración con EDUCAFIN, y cuánto es la cantidad que está solicitando cada uno de estos aplicantes.
Thank you again. So next question from José Sebastián Ríos Medel.
Una de las áreas prioritarias es ingeniería, pero esto es muy general. Ingeniería hay varias ramas. Ahorita no las tengo como a la mano, pero también cuando sea publicada la convocatoria estarán anexadas como las diferentes al interior. O sea, de ingenierías, cuáles ingenierías son viables, de programas de energía, cuáles programas de energía son viables, etcétera. Entonces, si tú ya estás aceptado en ingeniería civil en cuestión de urbanización y terracerías, sí podría estar como dentro de la lista, porque sí hay una parte de urbanización y desarrollo urbano, nada más que tendrías que esperar a que se publique la convocatoria y ver si está como el match.
Thank you. So then the next question is, ¿podemos aplicar si estamos en espera de la entrega del título?
Sí pueden aplicar. Nada más aquí tienen que tener en consideración que las universidades dan una fecha límite para que entregues ese título. Entonces, puedes aplicar, o sea, si te refieres a aplicar al programa académico o a la universidad, sí, las universidades con frecuencia te dan, digamos, un periodo de gracia para hacer una aplicación y luego terminarla con los documentos. En el caso de EDUCAFIN, sí puedes aplicar sin título si tu otra universidad ya está como al tanto de la situación, si tu universidad, digamos, de posgrado está al tanto de la situación y aún así te emitieron una carta de aceptación. Nada más que lo que tienen que tener en consideración es que si por no presentar el título de la licenciatura, su grado profesional, perdón, su grado de maestría, doctorado no es validado por la universidad receptora, van a tener problemas al momento de presentar que se graduaron del programa. Es como una cadenita, digamos, de incumplimiento que se va juntando. Entonces, no es una restricción para que participes, o sea, si tú ya tienes tu carta de aceptación de la universidad, en este caso de Calvo, y si nada más estás a la espera del título, sí podrás llenar tu solicitud, nada más teniendo en consideración que si por algo no sale tu título, también puede que haya repercusiones con el título de la maestría de la universidad extranjera o con tu continuación en el programa.
Yes, actually, Guadalupe, in fact, I will add some additional information, which hopefully will also help answer some questions, in particular, Miriam's question regarding level of English, as well as Alberto Nicolas's question regarding how much time in advance. So as Guadalupe was explaining, in order to apply for the scholarship at EDUCAFIN, candidates already have to have received their admission letter to the universities where they intend to pursue their graduate studies. Now, in Canada, the application deadlines for master's and PhD programs differ from one university and one program to the other. And the deadlines are also sometimes different for Canadian students and for international students. So those are all things to keep in mind when preparing your application. In general, our recommendation is to begin looking at different programs and gathering the documents for the application at least 6-7 months before the application deadline, so that you have time to gather all of the information required to complete the English language testing that you will need, so that you can have all of the required documents at the time of application. If the student has not yet received their degree at the time of application, often the university admission letters will be conditional to receiving the official transcripts as well as the degree certificate. So overall, in general, to answer all these questions at once, yes, you will need to demonstrate your level of English to apply to English programs, or French for French programs, unless you have done your studies previously in English. So that is something to keep in mind in terms of the timeline. And you will also need to keep in mind the time that it takes once you've received your admission to prepare all of the documents for visa applications. So those are all things to keep in mind to move backward from the date when you want to start your program, and then to calculate the number of months prior to that we need to start the process. So we can then go back to the question from Ubaldo Castro Gonzalez. It's in Spanish, so I will let you go ahead.
La convocatoria de Talentos de Exportación, los documentos entre título profesional, es un poco lo que estamos aún como comentando. Sí es posible que también te emitan una carta pasante donde tu universidad esté señalando que ya estás en proceso de titulación, y que la carta pasante también tenga una fecha en la que el título ya estará recibido. Es como comenta Marif, o sea, si la universidad de todas maneras te puede dar la parte de restringir, perdón, de dejarte participar sin que tu título esté, está bien, pero es una carta condicional. EDUCAFIN también necesita la certeza de que esa carta condicional o esa oferta condicional va a ser definitiva, porque vas a completar tu titulación. Entonces, si no hay el título profesional, pero hay un compromiso ya de tu universidad de sacarlo en los siguientes meses o semanas, puedes sacar una carta pasante. Siempre y cuando, como digo, tengan información respecto a cuándo estaríamos viendo ya el título como un documento. La pregunta de Miriam de si se requiere algún nivel de inglés. Esto también ya lo había explicado Marie, si se requieren niveles de inglés mínimos para programas académicos. Varía en función al programa o de la universidad, lo mismo con francés. Entonces, esto es para universidades de Calvo y para todas las universidades extranjeras. Siempre te van a pedir un nivel mínimo, y siempre te van a pedir ya una puntuación específica, ya sea en TOEFL o IELTS. ¿Puedo aplicar si ya comencé los estudios en enero? Sí, si es de alguna de estas universidades, sí se puede hacer una aplicación. Marie, can you help me out with Alberto Nicolás López Morena question?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the recommendations, Alberto, that I will make is if you could send an email directly to me at graduate.coordinator@caldo.ca. I'll be able to provide a little bit more information on the timeline to prepare for a doctoral program, depending on the program that you will be interested in. In terms of, do you have to pay any tuition? Well, this will depend on whether or not you are applying for a scholarship through EDUCAFIN or not. How much is the scholarship granted by EDUCAFIN? As Guadalupe was mentioning, it depends on the costs of the tuition, the price of the support of living in that city, and so that all is done through an adjudication process. And your last question, how to get an acceptance letter, is well, basically it means that you have applied to the university via their application processes and provided all of the required documents within the deadline. And if your application is selected, then you then get an acceptance letter that is either conditional or non-conditional. So that would be how to get to getting the acceptance letter, which you would then take to continue the process and apply for the scholarship at EDUCAFIN. Now, the next question, Sergio Morales Gaitan, the financial support for those who start a postgraduate program, or can it be an academic exchange? I'm actually not sure I understand this question.
I think that I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Estás preguntando si puedes tener, o sea, una beca similar para irte a un programa de como intercambio académico, o sea, un semestre en el extranjero. Si eres de nivel licenciatura, hay un programa del gobierno canadiense llamado ELAC, Emerging Leaders of the Americas Program. Se oferta, creo que alrededor de marzo o abril de cada año justo, y es para que hagas semestres en septiembre. La condición aquí, o sea, es una beca completa del gobierno canadiense para hacer este semestre en universidades de canadienses, si estás en licenciatura. La condición nada más pues es que tu universidad de México o Guanajuato tiene que tener un convenio con la universidad canadiense, y la universidad canadiense es la que te tiene que postular a la beca. Entonces, sí es como un proceso diferente. También de EDUCAFIN hay apoyos de vuelos. Y hay crédito hasta 25,000 pesos, pero algo como talento de exportación es exclusivo para programas académicos completos de maestría y doctorado.
Thanks, Guadalupe. So the next question, Andres Enrique Moreno Piñon. I will be graduated this semester in electromechanical engineering, so how can I apply in some university? In terms of applying to universities to get the acceptance letter in time to apply for the convocatoria that Guadalupe mentioned would open May 1st. At this point, unfortunately, this is not possible. You would have to first get the acceptance letter from the university, so go through the application process to the Canadian university. And most likely you could then apply to EDUCAFIN for a scholarship in the next call. Because at this point, depending on which program you want to apply to, the application deadline for international students may have already passed. And if it hasn't, then going through the process would still require some time for the acceptance letter to be emitted, which depends on a number of things, especially given the current circumstances. So my recommendation would be to aim for starting in probably January 2021 or September 2021. The following question, is there other programs similar to Talentos de Exportación focused on arts and humanities? My area is music for film and digital music.
Estos, como le comentaba una persona también antes, normalmente suelen ser dirigidos a través de un fideicomiso que tiene el gobierno federal con el FONCA, pero es el único que tengo así como a la mano que sé que se especializa en esas áreas específicamente. CONACYT es más que nada ciencias, FUNED es más que nada ciencias sociales, relaciones internacionales, economía. Entonces, algo así de específico tendría que ser a través de FONCA.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So we now have about 2 minutes left before the end of the webinar. So just I will have to go quickly over some of the questions, hopefully try to get the get answers as closely as possible. I do want to apologize in advance for all of those to whom we have not had time to answer your questions. What I would like to invite you to do is to visit the www.caldo.ca/contact page and fill out the short form with your name, your contact information, and the type type of information you are looking for in terms of graduate programs, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And you can also add your questions, and I will answer them on a one-on-one basis. So I will just quickly again go to Karen Juliet for, I think it's a question for Guadalupe, and you've touched on that. I wasn't born in Mexico, but I've lived and studied in Mexico 5 years, so she can apply, correct?
Ok, hay un tema específico respecto, o sea, un guanajuatense es por hecho un ciudadano mexicano. El Instituto Mexicano para la Migración hace una distinción entre residentes y entre connacionales, o sea, la gente que vive en México de manera legal, o sea, tú probablemente tengas un permiso de estudiante para estar en México haciendo tus actividades de estudiante, pero no eres una ciudadana mexicana. Si ese es el caso y no eres ciudadana mexicana, o sea, no estás connacionalizado, no puedes aplicar. Si ya está un trámite adicional, digamos, que ya es cuando tú tomas la ciudadanía, no residencia, ciudadanía mexicana, durante estos 5 años que has vivido aquí, sí podrías aplicar. También aquí lo importante es que Caldo trabaja con muchos socios latinoamericanos. Trabajan en Chile, Paraguay, Colombia, Brasil. Entonces, si por algo el gobierno, o sea, si no eres mexicana o nacionalizada mexicana, a lo mejor tu país de origen podría ser también como un convenio adicional o una manera de la que la convocatoria pudieras aplicar. Sí tendrías que revisar específicamente pues cuál es tu estatus migratorio y de qué manera estás residiendo en México, si como residente con permiso de estudio o si ya estás nacionalizada como mexicana y ciudadana mexicana.
Thank you, Guadalupe. So unfortunately, we don't have the time to go through the rest of the questions all in detail. Again, I do apologize for this. For this, and I also want to apologize for anyone who has had any technical difficulties throughout the webinar. Given the current number of people, I think, around the world trying to use the platform, we are conscious of this, and so therefore we will be sending the recording of the webinar very, very shortly, so you can listen to it again or even share it with your colleagues or your peers. Again, I do invite you to get in touch with us via the caldo.ca/contact page, and to follow us on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube for information on the different webinar series, also on scholarship calls that will be open. As soon as the EDUCAFIN call opens, you will find that notice published on our social media platforms. So again, I want to thank you, Guadalupe, for your participation.
No, thanks to you for hosting us today. I think that it's great that you have this many questions. We're looking forward to help you out. If you have specific questions regarding admission to one of the Calvo University members, feel free to write to Marie. If you have specific questions in regards of how the sponsorship by EDUCAFIN works and about the overall Talentos de Exportación program, whether if you're eligible or not, or if you have additional questions for funding for other types of international programs through EDUCAFIN, feel free to write me. My email, I just posted again on the chat messages. It's gcruz, as in Guadalupe, gcruz@educafin.gov.mx. Pueden poner en el asunto duda webinar Caldo o duda talentos de exportación, admisión, convenios, universidades, etcétera, para saber que vienen dirigidos a esta sesión específica.
Thank you again, everyone, and I hope everyone stays safe and healthy, and that we will see you soon, either at our Caldo member universities or we will connect with you through email. Thank you again, everybody.
Gracias.